Everybody, it's Lesley from Sew A Lot Creative Sewing Centers, and I wanted to share one of my favorite things with you. We're going to talk about software. So what you're seeing now is the Creativate.com website. Here, we can scroll through and find lots of things from projects and lessons to a gallery of embroidery designs. There's so much in here and so much more. Today, we're just going to talk about a small portion of this, and this is embroidery software. The embroidery software that Creativate offers is something that can be used with any embroidery machine. You're not restricted to any particular brand because the software outputs in multiple formats. So what I want to just kind of scroll down and give you a look at are different levels of software. They have a basic version, which is free. There's no cost for. I also want to brief you on some additional packages of software they have. There are 3 additional levels of software: Essential, Extra, and Elite, that has quite a few different features that you can use, from loading in multiple designs, mirror imaging, rotating, moving, kind of combining things together a little bit on screen so you can see what they're going to look like when you stitch them out. It also has some built-in fonts, as well as the Quick Font Wizard, which gives you the ability to create your own fonts from any type font that you would use on your computer. So we're going to talk quickly about those. You see these are here are annual subscription prices that they have available for them, or you can do a month to month just like you can with so many other things. But each level has additional features and will unlock a lot of capabilities for your sewing and embroidery machines. So I'm going to close out of here, and I want to take you and show you some of what you can do. Again, we have different brands of sewing and embroidery machines in here. You can choose your brand and look through and even find your specific machine. Choosing that and opening up all the hoops available for you. And if yours isn't listed or you can't find your hoop, there's also a universal group, which has just a supply of hoops that you can use to go along with the different types of software. I'm just going to choose a universal, and I'm just going to show you a few things that we can do with this. So you can take embroidery designs that you have stored on your computer that you've downloaded from someplace, taken off of a USB or a CD for that matter. You can move those designs once you have them loaded. You can mirror image them. We can rotate designs, and we can even scale them. Now, with scaling, we're not changing our stitch count. We're only changing the size of the design. But this is a feature that you would have available built into this software, which is great. I can duplicate. I can have 2 of something, which is really nice. Maybe not 2 Santas, but you can see what we can do with this. We also have some fonts built in. There are a category of fonts that you can use. You can choose a font. You can easily type your message. You can adjust the size. We can adjust the shape on how we want this to output. We can move that around. Some great fun features built into this free version of software. But one of my absolute favorites is that we have the Quick Font Wizard built in. You notice when I was scrolling through fonts, there was a category called My Fonts, and we saw an additional grouping of fonts. These are fonts that I've created as embroidery fonts by using TrueType fonts that are built into my computer. So any computer that you have is going to have some kind of typing program, and usually there's a lot of font options within that. We can actually access those fonts right here from the Quick Font Wizard. You can choose any font that you think you want to turn into an embroidery font. We can make them into applique fonts, satin stitch fonts, pattern fills, outlines, lots of different options. I'm going to choose a pattern fill here. And again, lots of options on what we want that to look like in that pattern fill. I can set my output range on how big and how small I'd like that font to be. There is going to give you a recommendation. I'm going to continue here. It's creating a name for my font based off of the font that I chose and the sizes and what we used. And it's going to output this to my software. So I'm just going to click done. When I do that, now when I come back to this font category and I choose the my fonts category right here is that font we just created. We can type a message. We can set our size. I'm going to add that to my design. And maybe I created it in that color, but I want it to be a different color for this particular use. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what that textured font looks like. Pretty neat, huh? And I can preview my design. From here, I can send it to my machine if I have a Sonnet or Creativate enabled sewing machine, or I can export it to a USB stick that I can then put into my machine with the format type that I'm looking for my brand. And I have easily added lettering or manipulated a design to set up the stage before I take it to my embroidery machine. These are just a quick overview of what that free basic Creativate software has the capability of doing. I highly recommend you checking it out, downloading it, and playing with that quick font wizard. But definitely see what it can do for you. Now from here, like we talked about, there are those 3 additional versions of software. I'm going right into that elite version just so I have access to all the tools. I just want to take you on a quick overview. I am barely scratching the surface on what this software is capable of, but some of these things will be found in different components of that software or different levels, and we will attach a comparison sheet to this presentation so you can see what is available within each package. But just want to show you a few of my favorite things in the software. So right off the bat, I want to show you this Express Wizard. I can create an embroidery design, a trace design, or a border design using an image. This is just a clip art that I have taken. I can crop stuff in. So if I only wanted the penguin's face and the top, I could easily do that. If I want his whole body, again, we can do that as well. I'm actually going to just do him kind of small because maybe we're going to put him on the edge of something. So I've cropped this out. I can change the size. I've created this design to a specific hoop size, but I can change that to a different design size that I am looking for. We're just going to stick with that. It's going to give me an output thread range, and I do have it set so that it will take out the background. That's what this blue is. We don't want a white block behind that. I'm going to continue, and we've now created stitches from that image. I'm just going to go in here so you can preview and you can see those are all stitches. This is an embroidery design ready to take to my machine and stitch out. So one quick thing that I love is that Express Design Wizard. Another fun thing that I love in software is probably one of my favorite elements is the Quilt Block Wizard. In here, we can create filled block areas in different shapes and sizes. We can do it around an embroidery design that we put in the hoop. We can put quilting in the center and add embroidery designs to the outside edges. We just have lots of different options, but this one I'm just going to do quilting around an embroidery design. We have lots of different shapes we can choose from, and we can set the size for that. So if I want this to fit in a 10-inch hoop, I'm just going to set my size. I'm going to add an embroidery design. So this is a little penguin that I have created in the cross stitch module of software. And I would like my quilting to be nice and close to him. I can set that margin. If I wanted a little space around him, I can do that. So let's just set this here. If I wanted stippling around him, I can leave that gap or that space, but maybe if I feel like, oh, that's a little too far, I can go back and make adjustments. I can change how far apart that stippling is and what my stitch length looks like, and it will make adjustments. I can create channel quilting around a project, crosshatch quilting, and I have options for all of these. So if I know that I want 2 inches, if I want a running stitch or a triple stitch, I can set that. I can even create motifs using decorative stitches that are built in to the software and add cute little elements around that. So little pine trees. And I can export this out, and you can see my little penguin now has quilted background of Christmas trees behind him. And again, he's ready to stitch. I can take him right to my sewing machine if it's enabled, or I can export this right out onto a USB stick. I absolutely love the Quilt Block Wizard. It is one of my favorite features in software. We also have resize capabilities. We have super designs built in, so we can choose from all of these designs built into the software as we go up in these package levels. So many fun things. I'm going to choose this one and I'm going to apply it to my screen. I'm going to turn off that grid just so you can see a little better. And from here, I'm going to use one of my favorites, this Encore feature, and I can adjust this. I can adjust the size. So I can create frames. I can say, oh no, I want this to be much bigger, so I'm going to do 20 of them. I can preview that, I can drag it in, and I can create design elements that easily, adding frames, creating designs. There's also this lovely monogram wizard where you can choose from different sizes of monograms, different shapes, different fonts, all kinds of different options that then you can add to your design to stitch out. Like I said before with that little penguin, this is just another module within the software that is called Cross Stitch, where I can load in a cross stitch chart, or I can draw my own. And instead of doing it by hand, I can fill this in different size crosses, the elements that I need to create a machine embroidered cross stitch version. So this is just a quick little window into that. And then one other fun element, if you really want to get into things, you have the ability that you can digitize from scratch. So you can load in images from behind to inspire your creation, or you can actually draw from scratch by drawing using Point Create, Quick Create. There's a lot of different options, but so here is an example of something I like to do. I'm going to set this at no fill with a triple stitch outline. I'm going to turn on applique and I'm just going to choose green for this. And then from here, I'm going to do Quick Create. I have all of these shapes that I can use in the digitizing module. And from here, I can decide what my shape is going to look like. I can come back to my tools and decide I want to use a pattern fill with no line and turn the applique feature off. And this time I'm going to use a square. I'm going to create a filled rectangle. I'm going to go into my properties. I'm going to choose this stitch, this fill stitch that looks like bark. Oh, maybe that one's a little bigger than I would have liked. So we want a little more detail. Choose the small bark. And I've decided I want to insert a different color in here. And then I want to bring you down, change the order of things. And I can easily create an appliqued Christmas tree with a stump or a pine tree. And he's all ready to stitch. And maybe I want to do one more. So I'm going to duplicate this. And this time, maybe this time, I think I'll do a satin stitch around my applique. And I've created another type of tree. And that easily, I'm able to create my own quick embroidery designs. These are just, like I said, tip of the iceberg, fun features that are built in to some of the different levels of software. I highly recommend checking out some embroidery software for your embroidery machine. It will open all kinds of doors and windows for you. Here's just a few projects that we have done using the Creativate software. This is that cross stitch function as well as the quilt block wizard in the background there. So lots of fun. Here is an example of those trees stitched out. We've got those fun little trunks in the bark stitch out, as well as the appliques created and done to create some really fun home deck pillows. You will find these available for purchase on all different kinds of websites and stores, and you can make them so quick and easy for half or less of the cost. So make sure you check out things like that. We talked about that quilt block wizard and how much I love that. I showed it to you there with the penguin. This is another example using a motif stitch, setting it on an angle. They're little Christmas packages. These are super cute little angels the same way. So you can fill up your fabric. You can create projects then with that quilted fabric. Maybe it's a zipper bag. If you watched the tutorial earlier about the circular attachment, you saw how we created these quilted coasters. The quilting was all done in the hoop using that Quilt Block Wizard. And then I just cut those pieces of fabric up into our circles and created those fun little coasters. So lots of fun things you can do with it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I hope you all enjoyed that quick little demo on just a few things that Creativate software can do. Now, what I want you to remember is there are those different levels with different capabilities. We do offer software classes and even are creating some online content to teach you. Creativate.com has lots of resources for education as well as projects when you do get some of those subscriptions. And there is a free trial besides just the basic package that there's no charge for. There is a free 30-day trial available for the Creativate software that gives you access to the subscription level. Some things we didn't talk about with that subscription level is that not only do you have the capability for the software, you have instructions for sewing projects, quilting projects, embroidery projects, how to utilize some of those different modules in the software, but you also have access to the entire Creativate embroidery library, which gives you access to, we're talking thousands of embroidery designs that you can utilize as you have an active subscription. So definitely make sure you scan our QR code or use the link that is dedicated for our dealership. That will make us your home dealer and you can utilize all those fun functions. We will be here to support you. Creativate will be here to support you. And we look forward to seeing all the things that you can make with your software. Let us know if you have any questions.